Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa Andre. I'm the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Tax Review Board, and today we have a session of Water Revenue and Water Department. With me today is our Board Chair, Paula Weiss, as well as Board members Nancy Kamerdiner and John O'Connor. I feel like I'm missing something. It is April 8th. Yeah, it is April 8th of 2025. It is approximately 2:06 p.m. And again, we're convening a session of Water Revenue, Water Department. Please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. Again, this recording will be posted on the Tax Review Board's website. I would ask that if you are not speaking, to just mute your microphone. And then of course, if you do speak, unmute. At this time, I'm going to move it over to Ms. Weiss and put in our first case.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to apologize in advance. I have a neighbor doing renovations. If you hear noise, it's my background today. I'm sorry. However, the Tax Review Board for April 8th, 2025 is now in session. We have two administrative matters to read into the record before moving to the cases that we are going to be reviewing today. Starting case number 3, which is 3411 Old York Road, last 4 digits of the docket 0BEU. That matter has been continued. Moving on to case number 4. For the address 2124 North 11th Street, last 4 digits of the docket SE6L. That matter was heard previously by this board at a full hearing. It was taken under advisement at that time for further deliberation and review. The board did have an opportunity to discuss the evidence and documents presented in that case, and it is the decision of the board to deny that petition. Can I get concurrence from the board members who are here that this petition is denied?
Yes, John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Kamerdiner, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. The petitioner in this matter is not present. A decision letter will be mailed with that information, as well as appeal and payment information that would go with that case. We are going to now turn to what is listed as case number 1 on our docket for 3350 Friendship Street, last 4 digits of the docket TVFW. And I believe the petitioner is in our office hearing room. Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Can you hear?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so my name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Board. Welcome. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Joseph Anthony McGuire.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to turn to the city representatives to start us off so that we can have them read into the record the dates and dollar amounts and controversy, and then we will come back to you and you will have an opportunity to explain to us why you're here today and what you're looking for from the board. Okay?
Okay.
Right, great. Who has this matter for the city?
I do, Ms. Chairperson.
Could you state your name, please?
Elizabeth Scattergood, counsel for the city, yes.
Welcome, Ms. Scattergood. Do you have a witness who is going to provide us with the numbers for this case?
Yes, ma'am. I have Ms. Chanel Smith, who's a revenue records supervisor for the Water Revenue Bureau.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, good afternoon. You need to unmute yourself. Could you please state your name for the record?
Chanel Smith, and I'm a witness for the city.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at 3350 Friendship Street. Can you read to us the matters in controversy?
Okay, the bills in question are the March 25th, 2024 final read bill plus associated penalties up to June 10th, 2024. And before I give the amounts, I just want to note that that final read bill includes this period of August 18th of 2021 through March 25th, 2024. Okay.
Yes.
The principal amount is $2,108.57. The penalty is $37.34. Lien 0, bringing the total dispute amount to $2,108.57. $145.91.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Scattergood, any opening comments?
Not much to add to what Ms. Smith already said. The petition stems from a rebill, which was issued in March of 2024, following 27 consecutive months of estimated reads on the meter assembly installed in the property. And during that time, water did continue to flow through the meter into the property. And the bills did state that the readings were estimated and not actual during that period of time. And the bills included information for contacting the Philadelphia Water Department, specifically the meter shop, to seek maintenance on the meter. And and the Water Department regulations provide that it is the responsibility of the property owner and or water customer to notify them immediately in the event of a faulty meter. So at this point, the burden is on the petitioner to show why that usage is not correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. McGuire, what would you like to tell us about this matter?
Well, what I would like to say is, I've been in the home over 45 years and I paid the water bills each month, when I received them. Over that time frame, I received a letter from the city, I believe in January or February of 24, saying that they needed to put a new meter into my home. So I made arrangements for someone to come in. They came in, did put the new meter in. I guess it was in February. And then when I received the bill in March, it showed over $2,000 owed. So I called the water department and I questioned that bill, thinking that was some kind of error with the new meter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told no, that the meter hasn't worked correctly or since for over 3 years is what I was told. So that's why I am questioning. I believe if the water company knew that the meter was not operating correctly, they should have notified me sooner and not let 3 years go by to correct the meter and then hit me with a high bill. Now that I'm retired and on a fixed income, it puts a burden on me to come up with the money to pay. So I believe that the water company should be held somewhat responsible for that. If they know the meter isn't working, they should contact the customer much sooner than let 3 years plus go by to get into the home to make arrangements to change the meter. My background, I worked in banking. I'll just throw this out as an example. If we undercharge somebody on a loan, if we were supposed to charge them 7% and we were charging them 5%, and we caught the mistake a couple years down the road, we would eat that interest. We wouldn't go back and tell the customer that we made a mistake. Now you owe us X amount to bring your bill current. So that's my feeling. I've been paid my bills as agreed. I have good credit, but hit with this bill, which I don't believe is all my fault. That's why I'm trying to fight this matter.
We understand. Okay, that makes sense, certainly. Ms. Scattergood?
Mr. McGuire, do you mind if I ask just a couple of questions to get an idea of what's going on in your property during this time period?
It's my home.
Okay. All right. So
Been my
first of
home
all,
since 1979.
okay. So has Was there anyone else living in the property with you?
A daughter.
Your daughter? Okay.
Going back to 21, I had actually two daughters. One daughter got married since,
Congratulations.
but another daughter still lives at the home.
Okay. So,
So it's my wife and my daughter and me.
okay. How are you receiving the bills? Are you receiving them electronically? Are they being mailed to you?
And they're being mailed to me.
Okay. Do you pay those bills by mailing
Yeah,
back
I write a check, fill out the,
little slip? Okay. Okay.
excuse me, the last bill I paid, I actually just realized I could go over to an office on Castor Avenue and pay the bill. So I went over and paid a bill that way, which I may intend to continue to do going forward. Which I don't think is reflected on my most recent bill, the last payment I made.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as that payment is received, I'm sure we will,
Well, I made it at the office in March,
okay.
and it didn't show up on the April payment that I received. I have a bill that's due before the end of the month.
Okay.
And that payment I made
And we're
in
not
March,
disputing your
Yeah.
payment.
yeah, I'm just
Right.
saying that.
We see that you
So
pay.
what I do is I
Correct.
just deduct the payment from what is showed as owed
Right.
and make the difference.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you've been receiving the bills. And do you recall seeing a color difference? I can share,
Show a bill.
I can show a bill if you like to show the distinction between the colors once the bills become estimated rather than actual readings. And I can explain what that means once I'm why don't I
Why don't you share your screen?
yes. Okay.
What-
Board's indulgence. I will work to share my screen, and then I will I will move on to asking some,
Ms. Smith, can I ask a question?
Yes.
During the time period that you read, which was 8/18/2021 to 3/25/2024,
Mhm.
was there estimated usage on the bills, Mr. McGuire's bills?
So November 2023 is when the final bill came out. That one bill included the dates of estimated usage. So there wouldn't be estimated usage from November 2023 to June 2024. The estimated usage is between the May 20, 2021 and November 17, 2023 dates that I provided.
I think you provided us different
Yeah, you
dates. Those are not the dates that I have written down that you provided.
provided us with 8/13/21 to 3/25/24 as being.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at another account history.
Okay. Because I was like, where did those dates come from?
So
My
my
apologies.
question is so what I have is I have actually 8/18/2021 to March 25th, 2024. Did the bills received by Mr. McGuire contain estimated usage?
yes, they did.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so this is not a circumstance where he would have gotten bills that had no usage.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I see this, I was given a copy of a bill here. I don't know the date offhand.
I will share.
It was
share
due
my-
April of 24. Under your water usage, it says has a date March 25th, 24 estimate.
Yes, but as you can see, it's an estimate. That's where your
And
problem.
be honest with you,
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. McGuire.
well, I look at the bill. And the
I
bill says, please pay now a certain dollar amount.
Yes.
I don't,
But-
I don't go down the bill. It says where it says your water usage. It just says March 25th, 24 estimate 5177. February 26th estimate 5171. I don't even know what that means.
Well, it means that they were not getting a reading and they were estimating your usage. And
Okay,
then
but
the time that they
doesn't-
changed, I'm not sure whether they actually changed the meter or changed just the transmitter when they came to your home. But while the meter, so that what they're saying is that they were not getting a reading every month. And so that your bill was actually an estimated bill, not an actual bill. And I understand that that's not necessarily clear to most people, but that's where we are. So Ms.
Right.
Scattergood, can we move on here?
Yes, sure. Okay. All right. Ms. Smith,
Yes.
does this, did the meter shop technicians go out to the property during the disputed period?
Yes.
Okay. When did they go?
January 25th, 2024.
Okay. Does the system reflect who requested that visit?
No.
Okay. All right. Did the technicians install or service any part of the meter assembly during that visit?
Yes.
Okay. And for the record, what are the components of the meter assembly?
And ERT and meter,
Okay. And ERT stands for?
electronic register transmitter.
Okay. So what does the ERT do?
It transmits readings from the meter to the PWD device that the PWD staff has.
Okay. So how is the ERT different from the meter?
The meter measures water usage, and the ERT just simply transmits those readings of the usage to the PWD truck.
Okay. So during that visit in January of 24, did the meter technicians, did they install or service the ERT?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Did they do any other work?
No.
Okay. Did the readings change after that?
They go back to their normal usage
Okay.
average. Mhm.
And what does the normal usage average look like for this property?
Mostly double digit between I want to say between 13, the lowest is 4, but mostly between 13 and 18, 19 CCFs per month.
Okay. And what type of property is this again?
My home.
It's a residential.
Okay. A single family residential?
Yes.
Okay. So did the visit in January of 24 result in any billing changes or adjustments?
Yes.
Okay. So what kinds?
A rebill, or you call it a back bill.
Okay. And define the rebill in general terms for the record, please.
A rebill is when accounting adjusts or corrects a bill or a billing period, and then issues another bill to reflect those corrections or that adjustment.
Okay. And that rebill is based on actual usage or estimated usage?
Actual.
Okay. So why was actual usage not reported to the Water Revenue Bureau each month for billing?
It does not specifically say why.
Okay. But why might it not be reported?
With one of two reasons: either the ERT or meter is faulty, or the ERT or meter has been tampered with.
Okay. Um, does this account show any tampering on it?
No,
Okay.
no.
So the ERT stopped transmitting. And once it was replaced, then the actual usage was able to be read on the meter itself, on the face of the meter.
Yes,
Okay. And is it in the ordinary course of business for the Water Revenue Bureau to include notices on the bills about estimated readings?
yes,
And do they include contact information for the meter shop so that the customer can remedy those estimated readings?
yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions for you, Ms. Smith. I will let Mr. McGuire ask questions or the board.
Mr. McGuire, did you have any questions for the city's representative?
No, I was just,
Okay.
I guess the main question would be, why wasn't I contacted sooner to have a new meter put in if they knew there was an issue? I should have been, I feel I should have been contacted sooner, not
I think-
not 3
well-
years later.
Okay. I guess the city's position for that is it's on the bill every month if it's an estimate. And I
Yeah, but I
understand
mean, like I said, I had no idea what that even means.
now I understand. I'm just saying.
I pay the bill as it comes in.
Okay, so I think at this point, the board is going to step back for a few minutes and review this. Everybody just sit tight. While we take a few minutes to talk this over.
Thank you.
Okay.
Paula. Everyone is back.
Everyone is back. The tax review board is back in session, having reviewed the information provided by Mr. McGuire and Ms. Scattergood, as well as the documents that we were able to look at. And it is our decision to make an adjustment for the period 8/18/2021 through March 25th, 2024. And that is to direct the Water Revenue Bureau to rebill the account for those months based on usage of 1,000 cubic feet per month, and to abate all penalties that are related to that. So, Mr. McGuire, this will bring the bill down, this deficiency bill down, closer to the estimates and your actual usages that we've been able to see. I cannot give you a dollar figure at this point as to how much
Okay,
will translate into. But you will get a letter from the tax review board with the decision in about 2 weeks. An adjusted bill will follow. And if there is deficiency and a deficiency amount still remaining, you will have the opportunity to enter into a payment agreement for any balance that may remain. But this will reduce and adjust that large bill that you have.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
I have a quick question. I have a bill due this month. Should I pay that or should I wait?
Yes,
Absolutely.
pay it.
Pay it? Okay,
Pay it.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Take
We
care.
have to vote on that, right?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Can I get concurrence from the board for this decision?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. And that concludes this matter. Thank you, Mr. McGuire.
Yep, thank you very much, everyone.
Take care. All right,
You
we're going
too.
to move on because we do have a full house.
Yep.
Case number 6, which is 613 North 38th Street. Last 4 digits of the docket are 1JIG. And I believe that, yes, our petitioners are in our office, so we're going to wait till they get settled. Okay. So we are moving on to case number 6, 613 North 38th Street. I see are there 2 people?
Yeah.
You're gonna-
Looks like
Okay, so you need to move a little bit closer to together into the camera so we can see both. Are you both Okay, so my name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Board. Welcome today. You need to move a little bit closer together. We can only, there you go. Could each of you please state your full names?
Sabella DeBose and Nefertiti Rivers.
Okay. Do each of you swear or affirm that any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Bose and Ms. Rivers, my name is Paula Weiss again for the Tax Review Board. We're going to turn first to the city representatives so that they can read into the record the dollar amounts and dates that are in controversy today. And then we will come back to you and you'll have an opportunity to explain to our board why you're here today and what you're looking for from us. Who has this matter for the city?
I do, Ms. Chairperson.
Ms. Scattergood, is Ms. Smith going to read into the record the amounts?
I hope so.
Okay, Ms. Smith?
Okay, the dispute period is December 14th, 2021 through February 4th, 2022, plus the associated penalties and liens up to May 14th, 2024. And I just want to note that the balance transfer in that period includes unpaid balances, but for the period July 29th, 2019 through December 14th, 2021. And the principal amount is $29,405.17. The penalty amount is $5,236.80. The lien amount is $487.25, bringing the total dispute amount to $35,129.22.
Thank you. And could you just break out for us how much is the balance transfer?
Balance transfer is, give me a moment. is $16,560.81.
Thank you very much. All right, Ms.
No.
Scattergood, any opening comments?
Yes, to the extent that that the board's consideration of this petition is equivalent to granting non-proton consideration, the city has to object. The petitioner contacted the meter shop as early as February of 2022 to contest the high charges on her account, and was advised at that time to contact the tax review board, but instead waited another 22 months to file the petition. So absent any proof of or any like explanation for this almost 2-year delay in filing, the city has to object to consideration of that time period, of the period in dispute. Yeah.
Okay. So Ms. DeBose, are you going to be speaking primarily?
Yes, and my granddaughter.
Okay, so Mr. Bose, what the city is saying is that you actually were aware of these large amounts as early as February of 2022, but did not file your tax review board petition bringing you in front of us until 2024. Can you explain the delay?
I was not aware of that.
And excuse me, I'm sorry. My grandmother, she is 82 years old. She was not aware that she could file a petition or an appeal or anything of that matter. So she asked someone from her family to step in, which is myself, to see if there was something that we potentially could do. And we did realize that we can appeal the situation. She is dealing with this on her own, so that's why we did file initially.
Okay. All right, so we'll take that objection under review. So any other opening comments, Ms. Scattergood?
None at this time.
Okay, so let's turn to Ms. DeBose, Ms. Rivers. What would you like to tell us about this matter? Start with, I think, telling us what kind of property this is, when you first acquired it, and then what you think the circumstances are and what you're looking for.
Well, the property was vacant. And I think it was a pipe had frozen, which I was not aware of. And the water didn't, to accumulate a $38,000 water bill is mind-boggling. I don't know how that could have possibly happened, because water did not leak over to the neighbors in on either side. So how would he, how would the city? And not only that, my daughter said she saw someone from the water department look at the property and they left. So I don't know what was going on there.
Well, we don't know when that was. You'd have to give us more information than that for us to be able to think about how to use that information. When was there someone there? What did, so I don't know that that's.
So after I acquired this $38,000 water bill, it was around that time.
Okay. When did you purchase this property?
It was my husband's property.
And
I don't know the exact date.
when did it become vacant?
2019, my niece was staying there and she passed away 2019.
Okay. And did you get bills on a regular basis?
They were supposed to be paying the water bill.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, after she passed away, what happened?
COVID. And she just, during that time too, if she did get the water bill and it was that high, no one could come out to even look. No one was even wanting to come out to look at, the property at all. So if there was anything going on, she didn't know, we didn't know, until she did acquire the bill.
Has the
Okay.
property been vacant the entire time?
Yes,
Is it vacant now?
Yes.
yes.
You go by and look at it on a regular basis? Does anybody
Uh,
check on it?
My daughter does.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
Well, I can't afford to pay what the city is saying that I owe. And then the penalization, how would they penalize me? And, I didn't have a set, amount to pay. Because we were coming to the hearing and find out what I really owed or what I was required to pay.
Have you paid any bills 2019?
No,
Okay. Ms. Scattergood?
Um, who, uh, where have you been receiving the bills for this property, Ms. Dubose?
Some came to my house as recently as like 2 years ago, I believe it was. They started sending me the bills,
Okay.
but yeah,
And no one has been in the property or is nearby enough to check
Yes.
on the property since then?
my daughter goes there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And when was the last time someone did live in this property?
2019.
2019.
I went after I got that large bill. And
Okay.
there was the floor was wet, but there was no water on the floor, like it would be a big puddles of water. There was no
Right.
water like that. So where the water went, I have no idea.
Okay. Okay.
Ms. Smith? Could you tell me when the last time was anybody made a payment on this bill, on this account?
A payment was never made.
Well, never's a long time. Back to how far back can you see, I guess is the question. Are you looking from 2019 on?
Okay, so
I see 22 through 24, there have been no payments. I guess I'm wondering if prior to that, when it was occupied, prior to 2019, were there payments being made?
let me see. So the last payment made when it was under her husband's name was made in July 25, 2019.
Okay. Thank you.
My
You're
husband,
welcome.
2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that balance transfer, there was a deed transfer? Was that?
Yes, yes, it was.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Scattergood?
Okay. Ms. Smith, have you had the chance to review this account?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the current balance on this account?
It is $7,628.67.
Okay. And where are bills being sent for this account?
To the mailing address that we have on file is 28 Ayers Lane, Bridgeton, New Jersey, 08302.
Okay, is that where bills were being sent for this account during the disputed period?
I want to say yes, but let me make sure.
Okay.
So while it was under the account was under the husband's name, the bills were being sent to the property.
Okay.
And then once it started, the account was transferred and then started being billed under Mrs. Du Bois. It started being billed or sent to rather to, just want to confirm. If it was still being billed to the property, and then eventually it started being billed at the mailing address that was provided.
Can you
The
tell?
one in
people again?
Bridgeton, New Jersey.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So Ms. Smith, I can see, and this needs to get into the record, I guess maybe the document as well, that on October 15th, 2024, because that's the number you just read that's still owed, 7628, is far lower than the amount due for the period in question. And I can see a $27,439 billing adjustment. Could you explain how that came about?
Okay, so based on a previous hearing, an adjustment was requested to rebuild the account at 200 CCFs per month. So it resulted in a total credited amount of
Was that from a prior hearing?
Yes, it was from
Yes.
it was from the September 27, 2024 hearing. So a total amount of $28,279.54 was credited.
All
So
right, well,
now
go ahead.
that's why you see that's why the current balance is much lower than what she's disputing.
So the
All right, so
credit,
that decision is vacated by this hearing.
But-
Yeah.
the credited amount also ate into the balance transfer that was due then significantly.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
All right, anything else, Ms. Scattergood?
While she's looking, can I say something?
Surely.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my grandmother is on a fixed income. It's just her paying her bills.
Mhm.
Her home where she lives at now at the 28 Ayers Lane, and then, you know, the taxes and everything and whatever she can. She's on a fixed income. The only income she has is her pension and her Social Security. There's no way that she can afford the $7,628.67. I know this was significantly reduced, but still in all, there's no way that she can even afford the $7,000 at all.
Okay, well, Ms. Rivers, I don't know what our decision is going to be and how this is going to go, but let me say that as the property owner, she does have somebody has a responsibility in your family to be paying the bills associated with the property.
Yes,
There's a water bill every month, whether it's zero usage or some usage. If there's a pipe that's frozen and water is leaking, there's responsibility as the property owner to handle those matters. And the city can't just always take on all of that responsibility from an individual property owner.
right, and we're not asking the city to do that.
But
I'm
no one paid a
saying
bill
if we
since
can take in-
2019. It's 2025.
Okay, and I think she wanted to see, you know, what happened with the hearing. Again, she is on a fixed income. She does plan on making, you know, some type of payment if she can. I understand the city is not trying to take on the full responsibility, but her being a senior, please, can you take it into consideration for
Oh,
this amount?
what's the plan for this property?
Well, I don't know, maybe one of my grandchildren might decide they want to do something with it.
Okay. Ms. Scattergood, anything else?
There was the meter shop did service the meter assembly in this property, I believe in February of this year. And a manual reading was taken from that meter at that time. And that reading was trying to find it. Board's indulgence.
0.
Right, okay, that's what I thought. But again, there are customer assistance programs available, but they're only ever available to they're available to occupants of the property, not to owners who don't live there. So as the property owner, the responsibility lies with Ms. Dubose, unfortunately. And the city is able to enter into payment agreements, and we can work out some flexible terms for those payment agreements. But as for the fact that water flowed through the meter and was provided to the property, that onus falls upon the property owner to maintain that.
Okay. I think we're going to step back.
Yes.
Everybody just stay where you are.
Stay where you are. The board is just going to go into a virtual hearing room. Thank you very much. $16,000. Is that 16? Where did that come from? I don't know. Was that asking me? Right?
No, that was the first one, that was the transfer.
Oh, really? How would he do $16,000? I don't understand that.
And if they were paying.
Yeah, what year was that?
But that's when they transferred it.
The 16 over
Yes.
to me.
Mhm.
Oh, good, yeah, but where did the $16,000 came from? Penny?
That's what they were saying. And if it wasn't, you don't see that thing.
Mhm.
I wonder if there's a way you can get that. Cause like she said, the credit that they put on there, it ate up. This balance ate that up, basically.
Mhm. Hmm. It's 2021,
It's the transfer.
but I never saw a bill for that
Yeah, but
at any time.
not even told.
I never saw that bill.
Yeah, cause they just started sending the bill to you
Mhm.
2 years ago
Mhm.
and not to the property.
I don't know where it came from.
You should transfer the bill.
Mhm. Yeah, because Penny didn't pass away until 2019. And it's supposed been paying the water bill, whatever. So. Mhm. Mhm. Oh. Mhm.
All right, everybody back?
Yeah.
The tax review board is now in session. We have reviewed all of the material and the testimony that we heard today. Our decision is as follows, starting with the balance transfer that was read into the record of $16,560. We are denying any adjustment to that balance transfer. For the readings dated, you ready, Ms. Smith? For the readings dated August 5th, 2021 through February 4th, 2022, we are directing water revenue to reduce the usage to 20,000 cubic feet per month. And we are abating 100% of the penalties from the period that have accrued from the period December 24th, 2021 through today's date, April 8th, 2025. Do you need me to repeat? Everybody got it? Okay. Can I get concurrence from the board?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Camerediner, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. So Ms. Rivers, Mr. Bose, we have reduced the usage readings that were very high during the 2021-2022 period of time and abated all of the penalties through today, as a matter of fact. However, you will get a letter from the tax review board with that decision, and adjusted bill will follow. You will need to then contact the Water Revenue Bureau and enter into payment arrangements in order to maintain this decision, and all of that information will be in the letter that you will receive. So thank you. Hopefully this will help you get on your way to getting this taken care of. Okay?
So, yes, but I would like to know, what am I due to pay?
Well, the Water Revenue Bureau, unfortunately, we cannot do all of the calculations today since we're actually adjusting the usage amounts. That changes year to year, and so that you will have to wait for an adjusted bill to come from the Water Revenue Bureau.
Okay.
But it is that we are doing a reduction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And is that based on the full bill of the 38, the total of it, or just the 7,600?
Now that goes back to based on the full bill. That yes.
So it could potentially be more than the $7,628.
I cannot tell you what I don't know what it will be. But having appealed that decision no longer stands. So I don't know. But
so
yeah,
can we appeal it again if that's something that we don't agree with? If we
you can
decide-
appeal. Either party may appeal to the Court of Common Pleas, and that information will be in the decision letter that you have.
Okay, and then two, can they include that $16,560.81, because again, she never received that amount. So she is not aware of the $16,560.81. So if we can get a breakdown of that as well. This is a time that bill wasn't in her name. So if we can get the breakdown of that as well, and if we need to, I guess we will be disputing again.
Okay, well, you can do that through the Water Revenue Bureau in the municipal building, and they can adapt their representatives there who can sit down and review the actual billing amounts.
Okay.
Period. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And we are going to move on to what is listed on our docket as case number 72863 North 20th Street. Last four digits of the docket are hard to read. JZJX for Michael McLaughlin.
Right here.
Okay. Mr. McLaughlin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Just fine. How are you today?
A little cold out there.
I know. Winter again. My name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Tax Review Board. We're going to be hearing your case today. Could you state your full name for the record, please?
Michael James McLaughlin.
Okay, Mr. McLaughlin, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We're going to turn to the city representatives at this point so that we can have read into the record the period of time and dollar amounts and controversy. We'll then come back to you and you can explain to the board why you're here and what relief you're looking for from our board. Okay,
Doesn't matter.
who has this matter for the city?
I have this matter for the city. It's Rose's Lachlan.
Ms. Lachlan, welcome. Who do you have testifying today?
We have Paul Parker as the city witness, but I would like to make an opening statement before turning to Mr. Parker.
Go right ahead.
So the city has several opening arguments today. The matter involves a $2,885.50 refund sought by Mr. McLaughlin related to a help loan that was signed by Gloria Rawls on November 30, 2020. Mr. McLaughlin paid that full $28.85.50 balance during the sale of this property on May 10, 2024. So the current help loan balance is $0. The city did wish to raise a standing argument. Mr. McLaughlin no longer owns this property. It was sold on May 10, 2024 to Young's Loyal Hands Home Care LLC. Because a help loan balance is associated with a property, the current owner's interest is at stake for this hearing. And therefore, we're asking the petitioner if he has authority from the current owners to speak on this matter.
Okay, so Mr. McLaughlin, you don't own this property anymore, is that correct?
No, and the loan that she's talking about was a person that stole the deed to that home.
So the loan was not in your name and the
No,
property is not in your name,
No, this
is
is
that
what
correct?
happened. No,
Well, before we get there, so the question is, do you have permission from the current owner to represent this? Because this is a loan attached to this property.
but I paid it.
I understand that you provided the funds, but from the city's position, this is a contract that is attached to a property that you don't own anymore. Someone else does, and you're seeking a refund that would be attached to this property and potentially the new owners would have an interest in this matter. So we would need to know that you have permission from them to represent the matter. Are they aware that you're doing this?
No, because I did this right during the sale of the property.
You did what?
I filed this petition. I filed for this court hearing.
Right, but you don't own the property
I
anymore.
don't own the property any longer, and the person that bought the house, I've known since she was a baby. So no, I do not, she does not know that I'm here doing this, because as far as I was concerned, I didn't know that doing this had anything to do with her. I came here because the deed to that property was stolen, and it took by Miss Walls. The deed was stolen. She tore the house up completely. When my family was in that house, everything, all water, all utilities worked. My parents bought that house in 1960. They deceased. She wrote a phony check to my parents who were deceased at the time that she wrote the check. That's how I got the house back. It's because of that matter right there. So when I got back to the house was completely torn apart, down to the brick wall. So in order for me to sell the house, I had to pay all the liens on everything. I mean, all of the bills that were all on the house, which this is one of them. And I found out that I'm paying for a loan that wasn't taken out by us, and it was given to them illegally. So why should I have to pay for that? Is why I am here. I had to pay for it to sell the house, of course. A house that was at the time stolen. So they gave a loan to a person that illegally stole a house. And I'm paying for that loan, and they damaged the house. That's That's why I'm here, man. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, I understand their point about I only took back the house after all of this stuff was done.
No, I understand. I understand. John?
Yeah, I mean, he has no basis to file the appeal for the refund here today. None whatsoever. And it's unfortunate what happened, but I mean, we can't, this is not the venue for him to try to get this money back.
You mean to tell me I paid somebody else's loan? I couldn't even get the receipt after I paid the
Well,
loan.
it was paid at settlement. You said it had to be paid in order to sell the
Right.
house.
That's out of my money though. That settlement is my settlement. What are you talking about? That's
Well,
my
I'm
settlement.
talking about your authority to file
That
for a
is my-
refund here. You
that is
have no
my-
authority here.
Why don't I?
Okay, everybody, one at a time.
Why don't I have the authority if the house was in my possession at that time to sell it? And I paid for it. That gave me the authority right there. You mean to tell me if you pay a bill out of your house for somebody else, you don't have the authority to go back and get that?
Well, you do. I'm sure there's a venue. We're saying we don't think this is the venue, that this is the right place for
Well,
that.
this is the place that I was told to go down to the water department, file the papers that I did, which got me in here one time, which led to this point right here. Somebody could tell me
Ms. Andre?
that I could pay a loan for
Sorry, sir.
someone that doesn't own that stole the house, that the city gave them, right? Because the deed is stolen. For
We
4
understand
years,
that,
it took me 4 years to get that deed back.
I understand that, sir. I think maybe the problem right now is that you don't have standing because you're not the owner of the property, and the owner of the property has not given you permission to speak on behalf of the property. That's like the main, before we could really hear anything, that needs to be resolved. So I would suggest that the board continues this matter in an attempt to allow Mr. McLaughlin to get power of attorney from the current owner to then see if he could get a refund for what could
Why
possibly
wasn't
be.
this told to me prior to the last time I was here and now?
Because
That-
we did not know that you are no longer the owner, sir. Like, if I had known, I would have told you. We did
Well,
not know you were not
I
the
told him
owner.
that in the first case. That the
Which
deed
person?
was stolen, and I just got the house back.
Right,
Yes.
but you just got the house, doesn't tell us, oh, and then you sold it after that.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying.
That's
what
all.
I'm saying.
That's what we're saying. We
I
want to,
apologize.
we want to figure out how to help you. It's not like we don't.
Yeah, we really
We're
want to
just
help you, but
figure this out.
there's the first level before we could talk to anybody about any case is standing, and standing requires you to either own the property or be provided permission to speak about the property. So
Okay.
we're very sorry that this happened in between the time you filed this petition and now, but now we cannot speak to you about this case or do anything about this case until we establish that you have permission to speak about the property. So what the board can do is continue this matter for you to get a power of attorney. It
Or
needs to be
notarized letter.
I was about to say, it needs to be notarized, and then we could reschedule you, and then we could speak about this issue.
So you saying I need to go back to the person that I sold the house to, because I do know her.
Yeah.
As I said, I know her since a child.
And get a letter that says
Let
it's
her
okay.
say, what does the letter need to say, man?
It needs to
Can you
say,
tell me how to word the letter? I mean, how to tell her to word the letter so I don't have
absolutely,
to.
it needs to say that the owner of the property is giving you permission, so it needs to have
Her
her
name,
name,
your name.
obviously, and it needs to be before a notary, and it needs to simply say that she is giving you permission to speak on behalf of the property to handle this particular matter before the tax review board.
Just for the water department issue, I need
For
to
the
have.
water department issue
A help loan.
and help at the tax review board.
So let me ask, and before we send you away, I just want to make sure we give you all the right information. I see that there's a tax review board refund petition. Did this go through the revenue refund unit first?
No,
What you talking about?
Do that too. We're gonna help you get through that. It's a process, but we can do it. Do you have refund petitions in the office? For
actually,
revenue?
I see that he submitted a refund petition to the Department of Revenue. I just don't know what the status of that petition is.
I got
Because
it.
when he
I got
filed this petition, it was simultaneous.
I got it right here.
Did you
You
get
have
any,
it,
did you get a response?
Talking about the red 15, the red thing?
The refund,
Yeah, I got a talking about the inheritance refund?
No.
No,
Oh, no, then that's something else, then. Sorry.
All right. I think Ms. Andre's coming. Ms. Andre's coming in. Don't go anywhere.
I thought you was talking about the inheritance.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the inheritance refund.
All right, so in the meantime, Ms. Andre, why don't you?
I'll tell him what he needs to go do.
Okay.
Okay. And we're gonna vote on this to continue this matter and give you the opportunity to then come back with the paperwork all set up, and then we'll go over the actual
Thank
meat
you,
of
ma'am.
the issue, okay? So John,
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy,
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
all Weiss, I concur. So the letter you're gonna get is gonna be, he's gonna get a letter from the he left. He's gonna get a letter from the tax review board explaining the matter's been continued and giving him the opportunity to get all the paperwork in order that he needs to do. Okay. Somewhat a little bit confusing. And we're going to move on to, hold on, which is case number 2, 6206 Cardiff Street. Last four digits of the docket ULOH, and I believe that someone for that case is on Zoom. Is that correct?
That is correct. It should be Miss Johnson.
Johnson, right.
Yes, here.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, could you state your full name for the record?
Jamara Johnson.
Okay, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I know you've been watching, so you know. We're going to turn to the city representative, allow them to put on the record the dates and dollar amounts in controversy, and then you'll have an opportunity to explain to us what you're looking for from the board. So who has this matter for the city?
I do, Ms. Chairperson.
Welcome back.
So
Very good.
myself and Ms. Smith will handle it.
All right, Ms.
Your
Smith, can you?
name.
Pardon me?
Please give your name. Myself doesn't give you a name.
Oh,
Ms.
sorry, myself,
Scattergood.
Elizabeth Scattergood. Yes, apologies.
Okay, Ms. Smith, can you give us the numbers for the record, please?
And the period in question is November 22nd, 2023, final rebill, plus the associated penalties up to June 10th, 2024. I will note that the final rebill includes the period May 20th, 2021 through November 17th, 2023. The principal amount is $7,850.08. The penalty amount is $389. Lien 0, bringing the total disputed amount to $8,239.08.
Okay, any opening comments, Ms. Scattergood?
By way of introduction, that rebill is based on is covering a 30-month period when estimated bills were being issued for this property, and the readings at the before and after that estimated period were actual readings. So the city, it's the city's position that no adjustment is warranted on this bill, as water passed through the meter and then was provided to the property, at which point payment for that water became the responsibility of the petitioner.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, what would you like to tell us about this matter?
Well, the reason why I'm here today is because I did file a petition because of this high water bill, that after they came in and exchanged the old water meter to the new water meter, I got this big bill. I then filed for a hearing. They said they couldn't do anything. I then filed the petition. When I went to the petition, I forget what month that was, but it was last year, and they did reduce it down to my actual reading of what the actual meter is accumulating correctly now.
Mm-hmm.
So they did reduce it, but then I started to think, well, what about the other? I never missed a payment. So if I never missed the payment from the estimate, supposedly estimate pricing, how am I still liable for this $2,000 bill when I never not paid a bill? So I'm trying to understand, where did that go?
Okay, so let me stop you there. and let's see if we can figure it out. Ms. Andre?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I don't see
Literally
you.
not here. What's going on? I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so what was there an earlier hearing?
Yes, there was an earlier hearing.
And
One
what
more-
was the decision?
The decision from the hearing from September 16th of 2024 was to abate 100% of the penalty, which at that time was $389, and to reduce the water bill usage from, or just to reduce it to 1,100 CCFs per month.
Okay.
The period in question that it was reduced was from May 20th, 21 to November 16th of 23.
Okay, so I think your testimony was that the prior hearing reduced the bill to what the actual bills before and after had been showing, but I don't think that's what happened. I think that the hearing decision was higher, slightly higher, and that's why there was still a deficiency. So we're starting again. This is a fresh hearing. That decision is vacated. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what kind of property this is, who lives in it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so I purchased this property September of 2020. I live here with myself and my 3 children. And I haven't had any water problems, that should bring a $8,000 bill. So I was very confused when I did receive it. And it was just based upon them switching from the old meter to the new meter, and that I was getting estimated bills instead of actual. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, the actual is coming up, they said 1,100. So if it's actually that, and I've been paying $80 a month for that whole period of time, now I'm trying to understand how I still have this bill. But I don't know, I guess you guys have to tell me what's going on with that, because it doesn't make sense to me.
All right, well, we will try to do that, and then we'll see what we can do to help you in this matter. Ms. Scattergood?
Okay, so Ms. Johnson, did you have, you said that you haven't had any water issues during this period of time, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so did you have it inspected for leaks or anything?
Well, I did have an inspection done before I moved in here.
Okay. But that was before you moved in, and since then you haven't had any problems with leaks?
Correct.
Okay. So you live there with your 3 children. How many bathrooms are in the property?
1.5.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a survey of the property's water usage and get an idea about the fixtures that are in there. So 1.5 baths. So a toilet and a faucet in each bathroom.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 toilets, 2 faucets, and then 1 bath or shower.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And let me see. So when the meter assembly was serviced in November of 2023, that's when you received that $7,800 bill, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So I think my line of questioning with Ms. Smith might help explain this in a little bit more detail, and you're free to ask her follow-up questions as needed. But I am at the board's indulgence going to proceed with direct examination of Ms. Smith at this time.
Go right ahead.
All right, Ms. Smith, have you had the opportunity to review this customer's account?
Yes.
Okay. And what charges have appeared on the property during the disputed period?
Usage, stormwater, and service.
Okay, has there been any actual use, has there been any actual usage in the property for the last 6 months?
Yes,
Okay, and are the readings progressive, meaning meaning the meter is spinning forward and not backward?
correct, yes.
Okay. And are the usage readings actual or are they estimated?
The current or
Have there been estimated readings during the disputed period?
yes,
Were there any periods of more than 3 months in a row of estimated readings?
yes.
Okay. And where, before I move further, where are bills being sent for this water account?
To the property at 6206 Cardiff Street.
Okay. And it is a single family property, like 1 unit?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So were there any months with 0 usage during the disputed period?
no,
Okay. Okay. Proceeding to the meter shop visit, does the system reflect who requested that visit on November 16th of 2023?
no,
Okay. Did the technicians install or service any part of the meter assembly during that visit?
yes, yes.
Okay. And for the record, I know Ms. Johnson has heard this already because it's been hashed out in during prior cases, but for the record, what are the components of the meter assembly?
An ERT and meter,
Okay, and ERT stands for what?
electronic register transmitter.
Okay, and what does it do?
The ERT just simply transmits the water readings to the PWD device.
Okay, and how does the ERT differ from the meter?
The ERT just transmits readings. The meter measures water usage and
Okay,
provides the readings.
okay. So during that visit in November of 23, did the meter shop technicians install or service the meter?
No,
So the meter that was in the property during the disputed period is the same one that's in the property right now?
yes,
Okay. Did the meter shop technicians install or service the ERT?
yes,
Okay. Did they do anything else?
no,
Okay. Did the readings change after that visit?
no,
Okay. Did the visit result in any billing changes or adjustments?
yes.
Okay. What kind of adjustments?
A rebill.
Okay. So again, for the record, can you define a rebill in general terms?
A rebill is when a county adjusts or corrects a bill or billing period and then issues another bill to reflect that adjustment or correction.
Okay. And the rebill is based on actual usage?
Yes.
Okay. And why might the actual usage not have been reported to the Water Revenue Bureau
It could be
each month? Yeah.
It could be because of a faulty ERT or meter or a tampered ERT or
Okay.
meter.
Is there any evidence in the system suggesting that the meter assembly was tampered with?
No,
Okay. All right. So with a rebill, does that come with a so-called debit adjustment? Was there a debit adjustment on this account?
no, it was
Okay.
just a rebill.
Okay. So the rebill is issued for the difference in the difference between what was estimated and already billed and what hasn't been billed for yet. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and describe the payment history on the account, please.
Good. She's on time in full.
Okay, great. All right. I have no further questions, Ms. Smith. Ms. Johnson, feel free to ask away.
I did just have a question about, I guess maybe I don't understand the difference between the two, but when he was here in November to change out this device, you said it
Right.
wasn't the actual meter, it was the actual system to read or to transmit
It's
what
the
was
Right, okay.
used?
transmitter. It's the meter is working, the water's going through, the water's being recorded, the dial is moving. The electronic transmitter that sends that number to the water department for billing purposes was not working.
And that's what he changed out.
Correct.
Okay.
Ms. Chairperson, if I could share my screen, I can show her a picture of the meter assembly.
Do you want to see it?
If you'd like to see it,
Not
so you
really,
can
no.
just okay. Okay, I just wasn't sure that might
you.
help explain why. I wasn't sure if that would
No,
help explain why the readings were estimated.
And so
Like
they were
what,
getting a
like-
reading. Essentially, your meter was working, but the water department wasn't getting the reading every month. And so they were estimating, and what they're saying is when they finally came into your property, they put in a new transmitter.
Mhm.
They got the reading but it was like 30 months of readings all in one. And that was why, and that it was higher than the department's testimony is that it was higher than what they had actually billed you because they had been estimating and they estimated low. And so you essentially got a 30-month bill of the overage. And that's what you're here disputing, and that's what we're looking at. And that's, you know,
Okay.
that's what does that make sense?
Yes, understood.
Got
okay.
it. Anything else, Ms. Scattergood?
Nothing from the city, Ms. Chairperson.
Anything else, Ms. Johnson? Any other questions?
I just want to go to the fact of how am I still owing, even if, and I'm
Well, I'm
putting
gonna
my
tell you,
mind.
you're still owing because the decision by the hearing officer did not match the estimates that you paid. We see you paid, we get it. And and they were estimates. And while he definitely lowered the overage, the amount that you got billed, he did not give you an amount that matched. That 1,100 that you mentioned did not match the estimates. It was higher estimates. So still after his decision and the bill that you got, you still owed money. Does that make sense? And we're gonna look at that again. I mean, that's what the board is gonna take into.
Okay, because in my mind now, even with the reading actually, the
Mhm.
actual readings, it's still coming back to the same amount that I was paying then when
Yes.
this dispute is happening. So I'm just trying to, so I'll let you guys do what you want to
Yeah,
do.
and
And
we
I
can
guess,
see that. You're right. You know what? You're right. You know, you analyze that correctly. You're right.
Okay.
That
Miss-
the bills that you're seeing now actually are very close to, from what we have, close to what the estimates were that you paid. So we're gonna
Mhm.
take all of that into account as we kind of look
Okay.
at this.
Ms.
Okay.
Chairperson, I do have one final note. It appears that Ms. Johnson has a pending cap application on our system. So and the status has been listed as pending since October of 2024. Pending just means that the customer has not submitted all of the application materials for the application to be considered by the city. So I just wanted to make sure that that both the board and Ms. Johnson were aware that that was still outstanding and something that she may want to consider.
Okay,
Well,
so
she can't get into
yeah.
cap because of this pending hearing as well. So we need to make a decision so she can decide what she needs to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the reason why you have that is because once they gave me what from the last hearing, I was like, okay, I need to try to get on some type of payment plan then. But then I started to think like, well, what about the other money that I already paid? So that's why we're here now.
Understood. Just wanted that on the record.
thank you, Miss. All right, so we're gonna step back. Everybody sit tight.
What did I lose? Did I lose somebody? Oh, come on. Where did John just go? Oh, crap.
All right, we are back. I think we might be missing John O'Connor.
Correct. But he is jumping back in. I just spoke to him and he was just in our.
He's aware of what I'm gonna announce, so we're gonna announce it and hope that he's back in time for the final vote. All right, so Ms. Johnson, we did look at your account and we really do hear what you said and we see what you were using before the 30-month period when the ERT was not transmitting and after. And we are gonna direct the department to reduce the usage for the period 5/20/21 through 11/16/23 to 500 cubic feet per month, which is in line with your actual usage both before and after this time period. We're also going to direct them to abate all of the penalties that have accrued for the period 11/22/23 through June 10th, 2024, because that's the period that they brought the penalties forward to. So in line with what you as you said, then the city has agreed that you have paid your bills consistently and on time. I cannot give you a dollar amount of where you're going to stand, but you should be pretty much even. Based on the decision, you'll get a letter from the tax review board with the decision itself in about 2 weeks. An adjusted bill will follow that will give you the actual dollar amounts. But we think that we
I'm
have.
back.
Ah, great, just in time. We think that we're providing you an adjustment that will more accurately reflect what the usage is for the property.
Okay.
And that will help you do that.
Paul, can you tell me you were billing at 5 CCFs?
Yes, per month. Okay.
Okay.
And can I get concurrence from board members? Nancy?
I concur.
John
Don?
O'Connor, I concur.
And Paula Weiss, I concur. So you will get a letter within 2 weeks with that decision. The adjusted bill will probably take about 30 days.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right.
thank you for coming in and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day, everyone.
Thank you for your
Thanks.
patience.
Take care.
Yes, and we're going to move to the remaining case, and that is, what is it?
Number
Case
5.
Case number 5 on our agenda, 11942 Waldemeier. I don't know if I said that right. Drive, last 4 digits of the docket, QNRA. I believe Mr. Tenor is on the Zoom. Yes. And thank you so much for your patience and having waited through all of these other matters. Could you unmute yourself and state your full name for the record?
You're on mute, Mr. Tenor.
Can't hear.
Ask to unmute.
Oh,
There
there
we
you go. Welcome. And okay.
I don't do this every day.
Please state your full name for the record.
Adrian Brooke Tenor.
And Mr. Tenor, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All right, as you have watched, we're going to turn to the city representatives to get the dollar amounts and time periods that are in controversy. We will then come back to you and you'll have an opportunity to explain to the board why you're here today and what you're looking for from us. Ms. Scattergood?
Before I turn it over to Ms. Smith to give those figures, I wanted to confirm with Mr. Tenor that he indicated by phone earlier that he may be seeking to continue this matter pending his retention of legal counsel at another time. So I don't want to go through all the motions unless he wishes to proceed today.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Tenor, are you interested in obtaining legal counsel before we proceed?
I'm going to go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to get
Just wanted to check.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Ms. Smith?
Okay, the period in question is the September 11th, 2023 final rebill plus associated penalties and liens up to February 20th, 2024. I wanted to note that the final rebill includes the period December 9th, 2015 through September 6th, 2023. The principal amount is $24,294.67. The penalty is $1,803.96. The lien amount is $106.45, bringing the total dispute amount to $26,205.08.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Scattergood?
Just by way of introduction, that final rebill covers an almost 8-year period of estimated readings, during which time the the meter was not transmitting, but water was passing through into the property. And those estimated reading notices were on every bill. Usage had been fluctuating even before the disputed period. Some months had readings of 7 to 8 CCFs. Other months had readings closer to 30 CCFs. So the estimated reads were based on the 6 to 8 end of that average. And throughout this time, water was passing through into the property, and after which point it became the responsibility of the water customer. And I mean, the bill, the $30,000 bill it's really high. I mean, I'm not going to dispute that, but it's for over 8 years worth of water usage.
Okay. Mr. Tanner, what would you like to tell us?
Well, they said they needed to change out the part on the water meter, and they came and did it. And then I opened up a bill that said I owe $30-something thousand. This is insane. That's the short version.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us what kind of property is this? How many
It
people live
is.
there?
It is technically a duplex, but it's a private home. I live here by myself. It's not rented. It hasn't had a renter. Certainly not during that period. I would say back to 2006 or so, maybe would be the last time I rented it out. It's typically had, again, now it's just me and the dog. But for a lot of that time, it was me and a girlfriend. I would have my daughter weekends, and her daughter was here a lot of that time. But it was just a family home. When my dad was dying, he was here for a little while.
Okay, how long have you owned the property?
I bought the property in 1999, 98, somewhere around there.
Okay. Have you had a plumber in to look at the plumbing?
Well, I did. So after first I tried to call, obviously, and then that's not easy to do to get through. And then I went down to the municipal services building, and they told me how the appeal process worked, but they also told me they thought I was showing high usage. So I did have a plumber come in, and I had a toilet running and a dripping shower head. But again, I guess my primary argument is I'm not saying that none of this is usage, but that's always been my indicator. If I had a plumbing problem that needed a plumber, was my bill went up. My bill was pretty standard and got paid, and people don't even believe me when I tell them this story. You tell somebody in their mid-50s, forget about planning to retire 10 years from now. You're a lot poorer than you thought you were. I don't know. That's
all right. And I mean, about your plumbing, because I can see even after that your usage is really high. There's a lot of water. Or that only goes through January of 24. I don't know when you actually had a plumber come in, but
that's about when, because I found out about this. The first new bill probably came in September, and I probably didn't even look at it until October, November, because I was. Did I mention I'm single now? All right. So, I wasn't in my best of function at the time, but and then I was assuming it was a mistake. So by the time I finally got a plumber in, it was probably January.
Okay.
But,
got it. And you had a leak. All right.
But it was a running toilet, and and a shower diverter for all that he found that needed work.
Okay. All right, Ms. Scattergood?
Okay. Mr. Tanner, where were the toilet and shower runs? Were they in your unit or the unoccupied unit in your property?
They were in
In the-
my unit.
In yours? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't, and do you have that plumber's report with you? Okay. What's the date on that report? Can't read it.
It is February 6th, 2024. Probably should have put these on.
It's all right. February 6th of 24. Okay. Okay, so how many people would you say lived in this property from August of 23 until February of 24?
I know the answer to that. That would be one.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty, by the way. So during January of 16 up until August of 23, how many people were living in the property?
Pretty much 2 to 3. I mean, it was
3. Okay.
There were, even then, my then girlfriend had her own apartment most of that time, but she stayed here much of that time. I would have my daughter on weekends, so it would be fairly probably average 2 to 3.
Okay. Okay. And you haven't had any other issues with leaks in the property since the plumber came in. Did you say February of 24?
Yes.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Although my big indicator is the bill, and I've been getting 0 bills now since this has been disputed. So I hope I don't have another surprise in the future.
Bill?
What do you mean you've been getting 0 bills?
My current bill, which I have here with a bunch of things written on it, is telling me I only look at the pay this amount part. It says pay 0.
Oh, that can't be right.
Well,
Alarming. That can't be right.
Yeah.
Because you should be at least have, I mean, you're in the property using water, correct?
I agree. And in fact, one of the
service charge and a stormwater charge and whatever you're using.
One month I just sent $200 because I said, well, this is it. I didn't know it was going to drag out this long. And no, I'm sure I'm going to owe money for that. But
No, that's a problem.
I have the bill.
I believe you. No, I can't see that. But I don't know, Ms. Smith, what's with the 0 bill? Are you seeing that?
Miss
Smith, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Outside of the final read bill and the high usage bills that followed after that rotate, the water customer is pretty much caught up on his bills.
Oh.
And so while those bills are in dispute, it's going to say 0 owed, because outside of what he's disputing, he's caught up.
Oh.
Okay, so you've actually probably overpaid is really, I mean.
Well, this is going better than I expected.
Why would his current bill? All right.
For the current period, the 30-day period during which for which usage that one bill is covering, it'll say how much he owes. Ms. Smith, what's the payment pattern on this account, please? I know you said he's caught up on payments, but historically during that period, how have payments been made? And how often?
I could probably
So-
summarize it. I was usually pretty bad at stacking up a couple bills and then paying current.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Kind of a mess.
basic. Yeah, that's basically how he pays. He'll let it
Okay.
run and then he'll pay it up. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else, Ms. Scattergood?
Mr. Tenner testified that he reads the pay now part, and that worries me because it makes me it worries me that he probably didn't see the estimated usage part, and didn't see that the meter shop number was included on every bill. So he was being notified about the potential issues with the transmitter and not doing anything about it.
Okay.
As far
That's
as
not unusual.
yes, as far as leak notices go, Ms. Smith, how are leaks notices given to water customers?
By notice, by mail.
By mail, by letter? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where are those letters mailed? Are they mailed to the same address as bills, or?
So whatever the mailing address is on the account, and right now we have that as the property address.
Okay. Okay. All right. And when did the meter shop technicians visit the property?
They went out on August 16th, 2023.
Okay. Is that the first time during this disputed period that meter shop technicians went to the property?
Give me 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
No, it's not the first time that they went out to the property, but that's the first time that they went there and were actually able to do something.
Okay.
They went out numerous times throughout the whole entire period.
Okay. When's the first time during this disputed period that meter shop technicians went out to the property?
The first time on record is April 30th, 2018.
Okay. Does the system show who requested that attempted visit?
No.
Okay.
Is there a notice to why?
Why they went out? Give me 1 second. Let me try to find it. Nope.
Okay.
No notice to why. Okay.
No notice to why.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm Ms. Chairperson, I'm inclined to request a continuance so that I can have a witness from the meter shop or from the Philadelphia Water Department come and explain in greater detail about these unsuccessful meter shop visits, since the records about which Ms. Smith is able to testify are limited in scope to those successful meter shop visits, meaning times when the technicians were actually able to get into the property and do something about it. So given
Realize Mr. Tenner's been sitting here for 2 hours.
that's true. Okay. I do appreciate
If
that.
you want to provide us, I mean, we could leave the record open. You could provide us with written information. And Mr. Tenner as well, and we could take all of that and hold our decision in abeyance.
Okay. Ms. Smith, is this meter the same meter that was in the was the meter replaced or just the ERT in August of 23?
Just the ERT.
Just the ERT. So the meter that's in the property right now is the same one that's in the property, that's been in the property the entire disputed period?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so I guess
upon further review, Ms. Chairperson, it's the city's position that that the meter itself was functioning properly, and there was adequate notice to the water customer about leaks and about estimated water usage, and that no continuance or abeyance is necessary at this time.
so do you have any documents regarding leaks in the property other than Mr. Tenner's own testimony?
Do I have
Does the department or the Water Revenue Bureau have any
those leak notice letters?
Was there is that what you're stating?
There were letters mailed beginning in August of 2023 up until January of 2024. Each month, a letter was mailed to the water customer at the mailing address indicating a possible leak identified.
That was
letter mailed.
That's after the period that we're looking at, though.
After the period in dispute?
After the 93 months of estimated usage.
Okay. Then during the disputed period, there were no leak notices identified on the system.
Thank you.
So water passed through the meter and was and at which point it became the customer's responsibility, and the meter was working.
Mr. Tanner, any closing remarks?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what I could add.
We understand where your problem lies, I think. And we're going to step back and have a brief discussion. Everybody sit tight.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're a good girl, Morgan.
Everyone is back.
All right, the tax review board is back in session. We did have an opportunity to review the documentation and the testimony for this matter. It is the board's decision to make some reductions in this matter. We're covering the period 12/9/2015 through 9/6/2023, and we are directing the Water Revenue Bureau to reduce the usage billing to 1,000 cubic feet per month. And we are also directing that all the penalties for the period 12/9/2015 through February 20th, 2024 be abated. So Mr. Tenner, they billed you at 4,200. We're reducing it to 1,000 for the 93 months that are covered under your appeal. So while I cannot give you a dollar figure, you will see a significant reduction.
Excuse me.
You
It
will-
says like about 75% or so.
Yeah, that's
Ballpark.
ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So you will, but plus you have made payments through that time. You will get credit for all of the payments that you did make through all those years. Like no one has said you didn't pay the bill. You just, what the city was saying was, well, we think there was a deficiency amount. So you'll get a letter from the tax review board in about 2 weeks with the decision. An adjusted bill will follow about 30 days after that. And if there is still a balance, you'll have an opportunity to arrange an installment agreement with the revenue department. So can I get concurrence from board members?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. Mr. Tender, did you have any questions?
I might have interrupted right over it, and I apologize. The penalties and interest, what happened with that?
Penalties are all waived for the period 12/9/2015 through February 2024, which are the time period that there were penalties associated with that bill are all being abated.
Okay, I look forward to my next bill. Thank you very much.
Good luck. Thank you for your patience. And
Thank you.
that concludes our docket for today. So thank you, everybody. Stay warm.
Have a good
Yeah.
one.
Take care, everyone. Have a good evening.